Hello everyone. I'm back again and I hope I'm able to see Geeta now. Yes, Geeta, I have accepted your request to go live on this. I hope I can. Yeah, hi. Yes, I've accepted it. Geeta, I can't hear you. I can't see you. Can you? Geeta, please accept my request. You're not able to join. We can hear you, can't see Geeta yet. Okay, you can hear me. I have allowed you in, Geeta. I've sent you a request.
Hi, and thanks for the ones who have joined us.
I still can't see you. I don't know what's wrong, but it's okay. Can you see me?
I can hear and see you.
Amazing. Okay, I don't know what's wrong. All right.
Ambi, I think there's, yeah,
Okay, they
thanks for
can.
your response. I
Okay,
really
the audience
appreciate it.
can see us. That's more than enough. They can see both of us and they can hear us as well. Okay.
Great.
So, okay. So not wasting any more time. Uh, let us go ahead with this live. So, welcome, Geeta. Good evening to everyone who's joined this live. And we have with us Geeta Galiawar. She's an esteemed sports nutritionist and a very high performance dietitian with over 20 years of experience. Both of us are based out of Bangalore, and she holds a PG diploma in international from the International Olympics Committee from the UK. So she's great, has a great experience, and currently she's an advisor with the FSSAI, and she also mentors elite athletes at various levels, offering holistic sports nutrition support based on the latest research. So, welcome, Geeta. And today, this is a special event for us because this whole month, My Thali is going to celebrate the Red Sari Challenge. It is all for creating awareness on women's heart health. So, we have a lot of myths around this women's heart that it will only men should be more concerned about it and women are not at higher risk, but I think it's just a myth, and the fact is that women are at equal risk of heart disease. Another myth is that I'm young and I will not get it, only the elderly or the older people would suffer from heart disease, but that again is a myth. And a few women also come to us and tell us that I do not have any symptoms or signs of heart disease. So why would I get a heart attack or a stroke? So this again is a myth. So let's break these myths today. And so Geeta, a question to you is, what are the risk factors that can increase the risk of heart diseases in women?
Yeah, thanks to you and Maithali, this initiative, and definitely the ones who logged in, and I'm sure the others who will benefit also from this discussion, who will watch this series after this recording is saved. So this can help a few people take care of their heart health, and women are also equally prone. So what happens is, as long as women are menstruating, estrogen is a heart protective hormone, and like I always say, menstruation is good, and especially it's because I'm a sports dietitian and I work with athletes. Missing a menstrual cycle is a big red flag. And it's the estrogen that not only protects the heart, but also is an anabolic hormone, just like testosterone, what it is to a male. And it is going to help increase muscle mass and also the bone mineral density. So if you're not menstruating, that is a big risk factor, particularly if you're overtraining, dieting, losing weight too fast. That is dangerous. And a certain physiological need of women is that you will have higher adiposity or fat mass for the reason that we are meant to go through gestation and breastfeed. So girls who are extremely overtly obsessed with their figures, and particularly I also work with athletes, if you are not very careful and you try and look at weight cutting too soon and you have lost a lot of weight and lower fat mass too drastically, then you can have amenorrhea or you will have missing of your menstrual cycle consecutively for a few months, and that can be dangerous. And of course, I think as you age in the middle age, for other women, the risk factor is having symptoms or signs of metabolic syndrome, which is obesity, high weight, dyslipidemia, which is high cholesterol, triglycerides are high, blood pressure is high, central adiposity. So we educate, we don't really want to go the way of body mass index, which is height to weight. We really want to do a simple measurement, which is the waist needs to be half of your height. So height to weight ratio is very important, central adiposity. So if you are depositing too much fat in the abdomen, the visceral fat itself can increase the risk of heart disease and also the diabetes. So today, which is a big challenge, and I think today recently we've had recent research update on urban cities and pollution that is increasing the risk of diabetes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that also can really increase your risk of heart disease. So coupled with all of these, and most importantly, in women in perimenopause or in menopause, because I already explained that estrogen is a hormone which is heart protective. So the minute they don't have the regular menstruation, the risk of heart disease goes up as it would for even males.
True.
That is where they really need to take care of their heart health and also their risk of bone fracture, especially if they've never taken care to ensure their good levels of calcium, vitamin D, and never done weight bearing exercise. So these are some of the risk factors across age groups that I have covered over adolescence to menopause. So on that note, Meghna, please tell me, are there any characteristic difference between males and females with, heart disease?
Yes, there is, because we call them as a silent heart attack. People don't even know. So this happens more with the women. Men may suffer from severe chest pain, or it could be nausea and vomiting, and these are some common factors. But for men, it could be a severe chest pain, a squeezing pain, or a pressure in their chest. But for women, it could be simple and very silent signs like dizziness, like indigestion, like chronic fatigue, or even pain in their upper abdomen and lower chest, pain in their back. So these are a few signs which women generally ignore because it is not a direct chest pain or a squeezing pain, or we may call it like or they start sweating. It's not like that. So women generally tend to ignore this, and in the long run, these silent attacks can later become very fatal. So similarly, even for stroke, which again is due to a clot in the brain, this can also, have very different symptoms and signs in women. So a few of the common ones are, face drooping, speech issues, and that you can't raise your arm properly. There is there's an imbalance, so you lose your gait, you can't walk properly, you can't balance yourself. These are a few things which are the major signs that you're going through a stroke. But a few silent ones for women especially are that they have nausea, vomiting, they're feeling dizzy, lightheaded, and even fatigue. So many a times, because we are overworked and stressed out, and we have office to handle, we have our families to handle, and sometimes we feel that, okay, I've not eaten well, so maybe I'm dehydrated, so maybe this is the issue. But you may be going through a a silent attack, or even it could be a stroke. So women should be more careful about all this. We should not ignore these symptoms and immediately rush to the doctor if you feel that this has become chronic. It is like every few days you're going through this. You should not neglect it or ignore it at all. So now, Geeta, coming to these symptoms and signs we've talked, and we've also talked about the risk factors. So what are the ways in which we can reduce the risk of heart disease, especially in women? Um, if you can throw your some light on this and share your thoughts.
Absolutely. We as dietitians, and you will agree with me more on that as nutritionists. I think you're into public health, and I am, of course, a registered dietitian. The first approach is always food. First approach. So plan your meals well. Definitely look at a balanced meal, and we want to see that at least half your intake should be with whole grains. So the unpolished grains have more nutrients, more fiber. Goes without saying, everybody as a thumb rule needs to eat about 4 to 5 servings of vegetables. Sometimes I myself am faced with the challenge of not getting enough. Maybe I eat 3 meals, so I'm getting 3 katoris of sabzi and 2 fruits. But ideally, the more fiber, the better. The Mediterranean or the Dash style of diet, which is plant-based. So more plant-based is always good. Soy-based products are very good to lower cholesterol. And of course, we as Indians know that we are challenged to get adequate protein. All the news that or the jargon we keep hearing of, high protein is bad for the kidney, liver, and so on, is really not really for our context. Our challenge is honestly to go over that 1 gram of protein per kg body mass, which is always a challenge, and particularly if you're a vegetarian. So keep your protein high, enough fruit, vegetable intake, and all the antioxidants, the green tea, the dark chocolate, the flavonoids. The more variety, the darker the color of fruit, vegetables is the better. And most importantly, omega-3. So apart the soluble fiber from oranges to the pulses that lower the cholesterol, most importantly is also omega-3, because omega-3 is going to reduce the risk of heart disease, particularly because it increases the high density lipoprotein. So little bit of half to 1 teaspoon of ghee, which is also saturated fats, or cold pressed coconut oil is definitely better. It increases the saturated fats, but it also increases the high density lipoprotein, which is good for you. And on that note, very, very high intake of protein can sometimes increase homocysteine. And that is for somebody who's like a very, very high consumption of non-veg and protein supplements, and when all your other parameters can go up. Homocysteine is directly, or red meat, very high intake of creatine, which can kind of increase your atherosclerosis risk, or increase your plaque. So vitamin B12 then is extremely important, because it comes again only from the non-vegetarian food or dairy, and for the vegetarians, please do supplement. It's very important that you routinely do your blood parameters. We'll look at evaluating where your serum levels are, be it the vitamin D, and of course vitamin D has immunomodulatory function, so which means that in some way they're all correlating. At multifactorial level, they do contribute to well-being. So your routine blood test should definitely include your homocysteine, vitamin B12, vitamin D, and B12 along with adequate source of B6, which is basically the same source as animal foods or dairy. So they can help, along with high intake of vegetables, which is dark green leafy vegetable. Very reasonable and nothing expensive, nothing dandy. You don't need to buy a folic acid from the pharmacy or the folate, or how the body uses it from the dark green leafy vegetable. Just having adequate good intake of high protein, be it the soya based or the dairy-based approach for vegetarians, and lean protein, which is your oily fish like salmon, mackerel, herring, trout, and so on. Chicken. These, and of course, red meat in moderation. So these can really ensure that you can, take care of your heart health. On that note, maybe Meghna, why don't you highlight on what we shouldn't do in meals that can ensure that you lower the risk of heart disease? Maybe you can, share 1 or 2 lines on that.
Yes. So thanks, Geeta. You mentioned quite a long list. I think people have a lot of options now. They should, when they eat, they should know that, okay, what are they getting? Which nutrients are they getting from which kind of foods? So for vegetarians, of course, because we are not into fish and lean meat and all that, dairy stands as a good option, and nuts and oil seeds. So now coming to what we shouldn't be eating, that is what we should be avoiding. One is simple sugars, and second is salt. Though these two are not directly related to heart disease, but they definitely lead to increase the risk of heart disease in two ways. Simple sugars, be it you call it refined sugars, from the maida, from the sugar. So all the bakery items, all the sugary sweets and desserts and the Indian mithais, all these things are extra calories. They are all empty calories. You're not getting any other nutrient from it, and all that you're adding is extra calories, and you will put on weight if you're not spending that extra calories, and if you're not able to maintain your weight. Finally these extra calories, they get deposited in the form of fats. So, and that's where the central adiposity and all that then becomes an issue, which increases the risk of heart disease. Second, what you should be more careful about is the salt intake. So we Indians tend to eat a lot of salty food, so our sodium intake is very, very high. And I think this is very important, because we need to know that WHO has recommended not more than 5 grams of salt, that is not more than 1 teaspoon of salt, which is approximately around 2.5 grams of sodium, right? But we get sodium not just from the salt that we add in our dals and sabjis and soups and parathas, but we also get it from all the bakery items in the form of soda bicarb, that is the soda that is being used for baking. And it is also present in brined foods, in processed foods. It is also used as a preservative. So be very mindful about the sodium that you're getting from the processed and the ultra processed foods. So here again, it is very important that you read the nutrition labels. Whenever you're going to a grocery store to buy anything, it is important to check the sodium content. And whenever there is a rise in the sodium levels in your blood, then there's a chance of increasing your blood pressure, and higher blood pressure definitely leads to heart disease. So these are the two things I feel people should be very careful about, to be mindful about whenever they are eating anything that they buy from outside, because we feel that, okay, I'm eating just a little bit of salt in my regular home cooked food, but otherwise you get a lot of salt and sodium from the processed foods. So Geeta, anything related to physical activity that you would want to talk about apart from nutrition? What are the other ways that should be improved in our lifestyle so that we can reduce the risk of heart disease?
Absolutely. I think without exercise, food is never complete. I think they are like the lock and key mechanisms of enzymatic action. So as much
Yes,
as we say that, take care of your food. On that note, also, I think one note before we head out to the exercise, I think moderating eating out. Whenever possible, try and consume meals from your own food, and absolutely, like you said, the food label, because FSSAI gives guidelines on what should be low fat, less than 3 grams, or low sodium. And in context to athletes, a sodium level, if an athlete is exercising for 1 hour, they could have lost close to that 2000 mg sodium based on the weather condition. So in healthy, normal people with regular blood pressure, they don't have to be really alarmed with that. And of course, me being a sports dietitian, it's a context, where
yeah,
you are and why you need to take care. If you are already overweight and have metabolic syndrome, then you definitely have to lower down your sodium intake. I'd like to reiterate that, because, it's not a blanket rule, and
true.
reading food labels was excellent that you mentioned. And as much as possible, try and use fresh ingredients, like a single, food, or items that really are perishable, and eat at home as much as you can. And as the American Heart Association says, you just need to focus on just about 2.5 hours of exercise a week. And, we all have to find that time. It could be just, walking when you speak to somebody on the phone, or taking the stairway, or parking your car a little farther away and just walking to your office. As simple as that. But get your movement in, because 10,000 steps a day is what is recommended. Trust me, I myself don't meet that target many times, because we are
True.
working, we are a sedentary job. So as much as you can, a cardio increases heart health. And, running, walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, these are all cardio exercises. But I think as a sports dietitian, though there is a direct not a direct correlation. We do believe that doing some weight bearing exercise 2 to 3 times in a week has some impact on the muscle mass and the metabolic rate. So I will definitely say that as a dietitian, I'm only not going to advocate cardio, because be it your Surya Namaskar, a bit of sprinting, or high impact exercise, be it your jumping rope, which is skipping, do what you can. Even stair climbing, if you climb 5 stories in a go, that is a weight bearing exercise. And I hope that somebody who's listening can sync with what I'm saying. If you're not used to that, you're going to be huffing, panting. So I
True.
think, so do what you can, and you don't have to do it all days. But alternative day, if you just can focus on 1 or 2 days of, some weight bearing exercise, and remaining 2 to 3 days, you can look at cardio exercise, then, you're going to increase your lifespan by quite a few years.
Great. Geeta, I just want to add to this. Whosoever is listening right now, if you have been very sedentary till date, and if you're planning to, start by, how we people take our New Year's resolution, you're going to start by taking a Women's Day resolution from tomorrow. Go slow, okay? Any physical activity that you take up, go slow first. Do not overexert, because that can again be harmful. Okay, so we've seen so many people who've been very healthy, who've been very fit, six packs, abs, and all that, and people suddenly collapse on their treadmill. And the reason is that we carry a lot of other stress, emotional stress, a lot of turmoil, personal stress. We have tensions in the office, which we don't know how to vent it out, and we are not able to share it with people. And mental health also has a correlation with our heart health. So very important that we sort that out as well. At the same time, whenever you plan to start any kind of a physical activity, be it yoga or running, swimming, anything, start with a 15 minutes, a warm up, and then 20 minutes, go to 25 minutes. Every week you should increase the intensity and the duration. It shouldn't be that, okay, today I have pledged to do something, I'll be physically active, and tomorrow I start running on the treadmill for an hour. So please don't do that. Do not strain your heart like this. Okay, it is not a voluntary muscle. It is not something that we can stop and start. Okay, it is with us since our birth, and it will keep working. It is a non-stop machine till we die. So we should be extremely careful about it, and we should be taking care of it in every sense. So this is my 2 cents on that physical activity is important, but in the right way. So yes, I think, Geeta, we can wait for a few questions from the audience.
Yeah, surely, why not? I agree with you, and I say consistency, like I called out, consistency is more important than going all out and being sore and having delayed onset muscle soreness and not exercising for the next, 10 days. So I think
Yes,
small steps and doable, be realistic and set practical.
correct. I also would suggest, do not copy your peers, don't copy your friends. Okay, if they're already into exercising, if they're already into 20,000 steps every day, you don't have to go all the way to do that immediately. Start slow and be consistent. That should be your mantra. Yes,
Any
please put
questions
in.
we have? I don't see any questions. So Meghna, I think good to wind up.
All right, okay. All right, I think we don't have any questions here, so not a problem. So okay, so before we wind up, I would like to invite everyone who's in Bangalore to join our Run in Red event. It's on the 10th of March. It is organized by My Thali Arogya World. This is part of our Red Sari Challenge, and this is to raise awareness again for women's heart health. We want to show the importance of physical activity to keep our heart fit and healthy. So we are calling in all women and men and children. Just be there in red at Shalini Grounds, Jayanagar on 10th of March at 6 a.m. in the morning. So hope to see you all over there. And thank you very much. Thank you, Geeta. This was very insightful. And as always, it's always so much fun to interact with you. So thank you so much.
And thanks for this. And can you please say what liquids should be taken during this summer?
Okay, go ahead, Geeta.
Okay. So there's a question come by Priya. So
Yeah.
depends on what is the context to what liquid are you referring to. As the heat goes up, typically unlike winters where the serotonin dips and there's an urge to eat more to keep warm. Also shorter days, so which means there is definitely the winter seasons are going to increase your appetite. But as the heat increases, the digestive power falls. So you obviously want to consume light food, and liquids are a great way because they keep you hydrated. And I think Meghna has already called out that go easy with the salt. Now that also depends on the sugar and the salty intake of your meals or your fluids. That really is a context to who and why. I predominantly work with athletes, so athletes need good amount of electrolytes or isotonic drinks with sugar and salt, particularly if they train, more than 1-2 hours, and sometimes they have multiple training sessions through the day. So for them, at that time when their blood sugar or the liver glycogen has dipped, then it's a source of energy for a working muscle, and we categorically say please take it only during exercise. Now, when you say liquids, for somebody who's looking at hydrating and consuming light food mainly as liquids for nourishment, then you can look at something very simple and homemade, from buttermilk to kokum juice to tender coconut water. It could be light broths and soups, and of course cold soups like gazpacho and other things which are soothing. Even your iced tea, which can be made at home with just your black oolong, lemon tea, or green tea, which are quite nutritious, and you don't need to add any sweetener. Honey is optional. You really don't need that. But yes, here again, it's not one size fits all. So I hope I could answer your question, Priya.
Yes, I think you did, Geeta. That was a lot of information on what fluids we should take, how much we should take, and in which conditions. Yes, we have another question. Is it better to eat before a workout or after? Yes, Geeta.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Meghna. So thanks. I hope I got the name right, Kuji. So now, eating before a workout is again very subjective. Somebody who's looking to look at fat burning faster and does a fasted workout in the morning, like I've done multiple series on this. If you are comfortable, or sometimes athletes feel extremely they're in discomfort when they consume a meal and get to exercise.
Yeah.
So some of them like to work out light, and it depends whether you're a recreational athlete who's just enjoying a moderate run versus you hit the gym, and that's a context. But in hardcore athletes, maybe their training is very, very demanding, and they definitely need to consume some pre-workout or have a high carb intake in the previous evening as a snack or a dinner in order to optimize their liver glycogen. In fact, during competitions, we say carb load so that your muscle glycogen also is full. Now, sometimes if you are a newbie and you're just going to start exercising, maybe eating a small fruit or even a banana, apple, or something very light can actually help you
Instant.
in physically and mentally, because you may feel a bit fatigued if your workout is more than 45 minutes to 1 hour. Similar is the case with people who are managing blood sugars. If your exercise, even if you're pre-diabetic or have high HbA1c, which is glycosylated hemoglobin, if your exercise is beyond 1 hour, a 15 grams of carbohydrate, which can be just roughly one fruit, one glass of milk, it can be one slice of toast, one chapati, one roti, and these, or even a katori of curd, which is now mango season starting, a katori of curd or one mango. These can be good options to fuel your exercise if your exercise is intense for more than 1 hour. I hope I could answer.
Great. Wow. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thank you, Geeta. Thank you so much. Um, I don't think we have any other questions. So yes, I think we can wind up. Thank you
Yes, see
everyone
you all.
for joining in. Yeah, and Geeta, see you at the run.
Yes, looking forward to
We
everybody
meet
joining
again.
us.
Great. We meet again on the 10th. So and this is again an invite to everyone for the 10th run at Bangalore. Please do join in.
So
All right.
I will please leave a message and I will respond to the query. There's somebody who's asked, how can I combine food and exercise to be lean instead of bulky? So that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. Just post it into my direct message and I will respond to you, please. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Good day. Bye bye.
Do save the life. Thank you.